So today we have Taylor Walker-Smith from the University of Louisville School of Dentistry. Taylor, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Quarantine's going super well. I'm loving it. Loving it.
It's a good time, right? It's a good
Good time. Great time.
Good time. But let's go ahead and hop into the questions. If you can, please give us a brief summary of your dental school journey. So basically, like where you're from, where you went to undergrad, what you major in, and did you or did you not take a year off?
Right. Okay, so I'm originally from Danville, Kentucky. Honestly, just Google it. You'll find it eventually. Really small town. I actually also went to undergrad in my hometown, Center College, very small liberal arts school. It being so small didn't make it super easy because not a lot of people at a small school are like going very dental. It's usually like, oh, I'm pre-med, you know. I was a chemistry major and I went straight in. I did not take a gap year.
Okay. And so everybody who is applying to dental school knows that if you're able to go straight in, that means your grades are pretty good, as well as your DAT being pretty good. And so everybody's always asking us, like, how do we do well on the DAT? And so I wanted to ask you, what would be like your number one tip for these pre-dents taking their DAT?
I think probably the biggest thing that helped me was just stamina, like being able to go for hours, you know? Because like the material I don't think is like terrible. Some of the material I had to teach myself. Actually, when I took the DAT, I think I had only had one biology class. Because at my school it's not required if I'm a chemistry major. I'm not required to take bio. So the chemistry was pretty easy.
Yeah.
Things I had done for 3 or 4 years at that point. But the bio, I was like, what hormones? What?
Right, yeah.
I was like, what is going on? The Krebs cycle, what?
Right.
So like, I mean, that was really rough and trying to teach myself was really hard, but being able to sit for 4 hours and concentrate and really focus was definitely the hardest part. So I think the practice test, just being able to finish them and still be able to like focus for 4 hours was the best thing for me. That helped me a lot. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. And so you like you said, you're from Kentucky. Did you always kind of know you wanted to go to Louisville, or were you kind of like thinking about going somewhere else for a little bit?
I was sure that I wanted to stay in state.
Okay.
And so lucky for me, there were 2 options.
Yep.
But like I was very sure I wanted to stay in state, mostly because I wanted to stay near my family.
Yep.
Because I know that is really helpful as far as like support, physical, mental, emotional. I didn't really want to go out of state. So between the 2, I didn't really have a preference. If I was being honest, I'd heard great things about both. What sold it for me, going to U of L was the interview. When I had gone, like the time that they had put in, like with the tour and every single presentation we had gotten, and you know how in depth our financial aid person had gone into, and like they really went above and beyond to make me feel at home and make me feel like I needed to be there. Does that make sense?
No, it does. And so like, since you brought up the interview, I kind of want to ask you a quick question about the interview process. So when you actually had the one-on-one interview, because you mentioned that they gave you the information, they went into the financial aid, all of that. So when you actually had the one-on-one interview with the professor or the student or whatever it may be, what was that structured like? I mean, like some people have like mini interviews.
Yeah.
Like how was yours structured?
So mine at U of L, it's kind of like a few mini interviews, but not really. So like during lunch, we do a 2-on-1 with a D3 student. And that's like very lax. Like it's very like, just tell me about you. Do you have any questions? Like very chill. So it's you and another pre-dent with the D3. And then after that, after the tour and like some other stuff, then you have 2 one-on-one interviews. So usually it's one with a faculty member and then it's one with a D4 student. And I think one of them is blind, so one of them has no idea about you, and the other one has like your full application, like they've studied it. My situation was a little different. Mine got changed like last minute, and so I actually had 2 faculty members introduce me because like I had done research prior. I was like, how does it go? And so I don't know if that was like good or bad, but I mean, I guess it ended up well.
Good because you're here, right?
Yeah. But I think it was pretty chill. Out of all the interviews, it was the most relaxed. Like I felt it was a one-on-one conversation. They were asking, there was the typical why dentistry, but there was also the just what do you like to do for fun? Like, what do you do at home? Like, what's your family like? Very normal, just want to get to know me as a person more. Yeah.
Okay. And so I want to ask you another question as far as like you showing your interest in the school. So like, did you ever do any type of like impressions day program, or does your school have anything where pre-dents can kind of come in and see how the dental school is ran and kind of show their face to admissions? Is there anything like that?
Yeah, we have a few different things. Specifically, like I had done some at other schools. I was just really big on like, summer programs and like doing that type of stuff as a pre-dent. But specifically at U of L, so they have a few different things. They have a pre-dental workshop they do every summer. It's like 2 or 3 days long where pre-dents come do impressions. They get to drill. They get to do a little bit of filling, like that kind of stuff. And then we also had like a symposium called Diversity Matters, where we reached out to students of color that were interested in dentistry. So they got to come and get a tour and like kind of do the same things. And then we also have the SHPEP program, Summer Health Education Professional Education Program.
Right.
Yeah, and so we had that, and I had done just the SHPEP back in my day, but now we've kind of expanded to a few different things. So mostly that kind of stuff, yeah.
Awesome. And so your first year, what year are you currently?
Well, I guess I just finished my D2 year. So technically I'm a D3 now?
Right. Yeah. I get mixed up with mine also.
Yeah.
But so can you kind of walk us through what it was like being a D1 at your school? Just basically, what were your classes like? Were you able to pick up a handpiece? Did you have any type of clinical experience? Things like that.
Yeah, so most of D1, which I think everywhere is like all the book work, didactic stuff, like, very typical. We were taking, I think, like 26 credit hours a semester-ish. So we really knocked out like the biochem, anatomy, histology, the bigger things like that. And we had like, I think our first operative course in dental anatomy. So I feel like they were trying to ease us into that kind of stuff. So we started with waxing, just typical. And then our second semester D1 year is when we kind of gotten into operative, like the drill and fill stuff. I will say it's a struggle because they started us off pretty quick. So I think we got like a few days to do like class ones, and then almost immediately they were like, all right, prep a box, class 2, let's go. And we were all like, so I think they do a really good job of giving the lectures beforehand of like, this is what you're going to do. But as soon as we get in the lab, like we're going in.
Right.
So we did get a lot of hand skills, like pretty quickly. And we did get a little bit of clinical experience. So we have an intro to clinical dentistry class. And so a lot of the requirements for that are assisting the upperclassmen. So we'll go up to the clinic, per semester. I think we had to get 6 different rotations, but they had to be certain things. So like sometimes we could see operative, but we had to make sure we also saw like a crown bridge, or that we saw like a dentures case or something like that. And basically for the whole session, we had to just be up there, assisting or, grabbing stuff for upperclassmen, getting to know the patients. So it really, really helped to be familiar with that environment, because I feel so much more prepared to be the upperclassman, I guess, whenever I get there.
Right. Yeah. I guess now, kind of.
Yeah, but we don't know when we're going back to school.
Yeah. Our date keeps getting pushed back right now.
Yeah, same.
It's rough. But anyway, awesome. So I'm asking everybody this question. What do you feel like, through your various experiences at these different summer programs, amongst talking to your friends who go to other dental schools, what's something that you feel like is unique and special about Louisville?
I think we First of all, like as far as like school academic-y stuff
Mhm.
wise, I think our radiology program is pretty bomb. I'm not gonna
Okay.
lie.
Okay.
And I don't want to like hype us up, I guess,
Right. Right.
but there were so many different programs that I had gone to that, they had talked about like their own specific, um, positives or whatever. But like during interview day, we got like a mini lecture, if you will, from some of the radiology faculty. And like they had talked about like all this different work that they had done, and like they had written all these crazy books. And I was like, oh, I feel like everyone kind of does that though. And then I got here and I had taken, because we have, at this point, I've taken 3 different oral radiology classes, which is like a lot. And a lot.
It
It's
is.
like, I thought we were done with this. Isn't this like one semester? I send it off to the radiologist.
Right.
But like and we only have like 2 or 3 faculty, but they really like are on us about every little detail. Like you should be able to diagnose with this and this, and you should be able to work all of these different all of our different technology, and like we have to pass like 2 or 3 different competencies just to be able to work in the clinic. Like they really harp on being able to read a radiograph and like what that means and how to work the latest technology and being able to diagnose. And so I feel so prepared for that part of my job. And they even like I guess incorporate that in our like more academic book classes.
Mhm.
So like in our general path and oral pathology classes, like so many of our exams were just like radiographs, and
Mhm.
you had to make like conclusions and diagnose based purely off that with maybe a little bit of history. And so I feel so confident
Yeah.
about reading radiographs now.
And it's super important. Like it
Yeah,
really
it is.
is.
I
It really
agree.
is. Like you can
I
save
agree.
yourself
Yeah.
a lot of time if
It's
you know how to
crazy.
read a radiograph.
Yeah.
No, that's actually very unique. I didn't
Yeah.
expect that. Like honestly, I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, okay.
Honestly, I didn't either. I was like, if I'm not good in this class, it's going to be fine. It's going to be over. It was not over.
Right. Dental school feels like it never is in
Oh,
general.
yeah.
Anyway, okay, so now we're at the last question of the
Yeah.
interview. Um, if you were able to go back in time, what, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, while
Hmm.
you're going through the DAT and application process, what's one piece of advice that you would give to yourself?
Probably to be a little bit more adventurous with like what I was doing beforehand and even with the application process. So like I feel like my undergrad, at least the last 2 years when I was sure about dental school, like it was dental school all the time. Like
Hmm.
I need to make sure I'm doing this so that I can look this way and get into this school, and
Yep.
kind of. And I wish that I had been a little bit more like relaxed in that process. And I needed to remember, especially when I got to the interview stage, that if they're inviting me for an interview, they want me too.
Yeah.
It's not just I need to prove myself. Like I need to look and see if that's where I want to spend my next 4 years. um because not only am I gaining the experience of being in dental school, but they're gaining a really good student. Like
Right.
I needed to keep my confidence up that I was a good candidate as well. um Also, I wanted to be more adventurous as far as like the application process by like applying to other schools, like even schools that I thought were like out of reach.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm not saying apply to like 100 schools or whatever,
No, do
a
not do
ton,
that.
but like I had only applied to 4, and 2
Hmm.
of them were my in-state schools.
Hmm.
I just wish that, and there were so many schools that I was like, oh, I just don't think I don't think I have I have a chance. Like I don't think I could do it. And I wish that just maybe 1 or 2 schools I would just gone out of my comfort zone and just tried. Because
Right.
even if they would have said no, I mean, it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, all right,
Great
cool.
program, still an awesome school.
Yeah.
But just to see that like I had a shot or an opportunity, I just wish I was a little bit more adventurous with that.
So, Taylor, thank you so much for your honesty, your
Of
openness about
course.
this interview. If anybody has any other questions, what's the best way that they can reach out to you?
Um, Probably Instagram, if
Okay.
that's not weird.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah,
Perfect. Okay, so I'll just put your Instagram in the description link below so that if anybody has any other questions about Louisville, of course, they can go there and reach out to you. But
Yeah, of course.
once again, from the Future DDS family, we want to say thank you so much for helping us out with this today. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Awesome. Awesome. Everybody, if you have any questions for Terrell and I, you can head over to FutureDDS's Instagram @_FutureDDS, and we'll get right back to you. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button below. And that's about it. See y'all next time.